Hi. So, episode 3 of Dragon Prince, huh? It's, yay me for being right about the king dying. Some of those things where it's just like, sometimes you don't want to be right, you know? He was trying to be a good dad. I wanted him to live, but I just knew that was unlikely. Unless it's going to be like a plot twist later on. He somehow stays alive because magic or something, but it is very much implied that he's dead. Rough times. He only got to hear his son call him dad once before he died. That's that's oof, angst. It's good. You need some angst. That, yeah. I wasn't like crying, but it's rough. I can sympathise with them. You can see Rayla's already thinking about them because she's like, oh, I won't tell you, but that could be attributed to like concern over their welfare. Like, I don't want to hurt them by telling them, or like, I don't want to tell them because they might direct their anger towards me. It might get in the way of us delivering the egg. So either way, she's going to have to tell them eventually, isn't she? I don't know if she will, because that's a big angst bomb there, just waiting, ticking, to go off at any time. If they ever need a source for conflict between them and distrust, they can just... It's it's good. It actually, loads of like stories have the protagonists' parents killed off before the story starts or right near the beginning, which is it's a common writing technique because it's very useful as a writer. I've tried to write so many characters and it's just like, but their parents wouldn't let them do this. And also like needing angst, you know, to make them more relatable and to sort of create these specific flaws and stuff that they can have. So it's a very easy, it's like two birds with one stone, you know that expression? You just, you get the angst and you get the easier, you get rid of a plot hindrance, I'm going to say that, and you just mush these together. So, dead parents. It's, yeah, so that's why it's so common, pretty much. But here, sometimes it can be difficult to care, but I did actually care about the king, because he was interesting and he was shown to have some sympathetic qualities. That doesn't necessarily mean that I think that the king is 100% the good guy and that the humans are all on the right and the elves are evil and bad and the dragons are bad. He definitely did some messed up things as king. He even said so himself. I appreciate, everyone likes a good grey character, you know, morally dubious character on the scale. It's nice to see when characters realise that they are flawed beings. So he was quite compelling. But it would have been difficult to see character growth for him, so I get why he died in that sense as well. Like, not only was he the parent of the protagonists, but it would be difficult to see his sort of character development where he was right now in the plot, so it just sort of makes sense to kill him, but it's a big sad. I liked King Dad, he was interesting, but there we go. I also love his bird. I'm not going to discuss the bird because there's nothing to say, I just like the bird. It's cute. We've got a couple of things in this episode. I said, like, the last episode it really started to kick off the plot, and then here it's like just sort of kicking it a bit further, you know? Getting the ball rolling. It's yeah, I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of emo about Claudia, because she was introduced as this sort of innocent, cutesy character, and if she's going to imprison this guy, I can't remember the elf guy's name. I like him, he seems cool. Maybe less so as a person, but I like him as a character. But anyway, that's a whole other debate that I might do in a different video. But just like, we have more, practical uses for him? Spare him so I can interrogate him, same sort of thing. Interrogate, I hope. I don't want... I like her as she is now and don't want her to become a villain, but at the same time, like, character development. Sometimes when people think character development, a lot of the time they think progress and they don't think regress. But some of the best character arcs involve a character regressing and becoming worse, and instead of like resolving a conflict and making the world a better place, and make it a worse place, arguably. And to think of an example off the top of my head, like, I don't know, Breaking Bad, that's a famous one. Yeah, spoiler alert, Walter White is, he's not a nice guy. At least not by the end. But that's a bit of an extreme example, but I just wanted to, like, character regress is very much a possibility in lots of character arcs. I think Azula's another good example from Avatar: The Last Airbender. She doesn't become a better person, you know. She does develop, though. And she does regress because she starts to have a breakdown. Because her foundations have sort of been ripped apart. I won't make this video like 2 hours long by discussing Azula. I could do another video on that maybe in the future, but not now. I'm recording this, it's like 1:30 in the AM. So no Azula talk now. But yeah, I hope Claudia does... I don't want Claudia to become evil 100%. It's big sad. But I think that's like the audience part of me, and not the writer part of me. The writer part of me is like, ooh, character development. Meanwhile, as an audience member, she was one of my favourites, so it's big sad. I record these literally just after watching the episode, so if you're like, this is a bit messy, where's the structure? I have no notes, I'm just literally... My brain's just buffering as I'm talking, and I'm trying not to stop. There was the interesting thing with Rayla and the other elf guy. We see what happens with the moon. I thought it was just going to be like, I don't know, extra zoomy, extra good at fighting, just a bit faster, but just a bit stronger. But the whole colour scheme sort of morphs, and some things become inverted and some things become a bit brighter, and they sort of become translucent. They remind me of those kind of like the smog wolves, the smoke wolves. There's probably a technical name for them, but that we see earlier, and they're not quite physical, but they seem to be able to turn it on and off, which is interesting. It's not like Avatar, my water bending is more powerful sort of thing. It's literally, they change. It's like they get a power up in a video game, you know? And your character can like glow or some nonsense. It was interesting. The frame rate made the fighting a bit weird for a second, a little bit slower, but I think it was okay. They sort of seemed to sort of stagger moments or fights between character moments anyway. If it was just you were watching like a solid just fight scene without any dialogue or pausing between characters trying to make decisions, then I think it would be, I think then it'd start to grate a bit more. I don't know if that's going to happen down the line. Maybe. But when it's broken up, I don't think it's as bad. But I enjoyed the elf fight scene very much. It's you see not only like their power up, which makes them like shadows, which is interesting. It's not particularly what I wanted, but okay, I'm here for it. And also the whole bow swords thing. If you look at my channel, I'm a Ruby fan, so I like converting weapons, as you could probably tell. So I am very much into that, and also Rayla's sarcasm and remarks and being funny. I love a character who's sarcastic and snarky and stuff like that in fights, especially if they're a shorter character. Because that's just relatable. Us shorter people are just a bit angrier. A little bit meaner. It was fun. It became a lot less fun when he realised that she was stalling him, and he he ran off and killed the king. It became a bit more serious then, but yeah. In the meantime, it was a fun time. You see the prince, I've forgotten his name and I feel bad, but I don't know, the one that reminds me of Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon, the mage who's not 100% a mage, you get it. It was a interesting character moment, because you see Rayla choosing, like, she doesn't choose to spare them because vengeance doesn't matter anymore. It's because, like, oh, well, there's no need for vengeance because this murder didn't take place. The kid was stolen. If we give the kid back to the mother, then, like, the crime has sort of been rectified, sort of deal. So she doesn't necessarily change that. She does in the fact that she sort of trusts them. They're like, yeah, we need to do something about this. And then she's like, yeah. So maybe a bit in the fact that she was willing to trust them and they're willing to trust her, they developed a bit. But with the prince guy, he was saying about peace and wanting to stop conflicts, and he ran away from a conflict to sort out a different conflict, one which was less personal to him, which is interesting. I mean, like, in the situation, it's like the right decision to run away, I would say, because what would he have done? He would have gone in there and been murdered. He couldn't do anything himself. I understand the want to go in there and protect your family, obviously, but it's just, it wouldn't have worked out well. But it's interesting how, sort of like, that's the conflict he chooses to resolve. Because I don't know how rationally you can think at that time. I don't know if he was necessarily like, well, if I think about my skills compared to their probably skills and doing all this sort of Sherlock figuring stuff out, I don't know if he was necessarily doing that or if he was scared or what. But he's very much like stepping forward into the plot, and as a protagonist, he's a bit of the, I said he reminds me of Hiccup. He's a bit of the how do I explain this? He's a bit of the bumbling male nerd protagonist sort of thing, where he's like not good at the physical things, which are like cool, or like, I put cool in quotation marks, what am I saying? He's not good at the physical things he's expected to, he's good at other things, and he's sort of a bit funny and silly, and he has a crush on a girl who doesn't notice him, that sort of trope. Although this time they had it because she's like, she's in her own sort of world sort of thing, as opposed to like the stereotypical like trope where, you know, I'm sort like the whole mean girl sort of most popular girl in school trope. They didn't do that, which is appreciated. But yeah, that's why I'm probably the least attached to him out of the main three. But that doesn't mean I don't like him. He is very much sympathetic. He's a little bit cookie cutter, but like, I like cookies, you know, he's a sweet boy. He's learning and he's trying and he cares about his family, so even if he's like not the most nuanced and masterfully written character, it's been 3 episodes and it's in theory a kids show or something like that. They can only do so much, only show so much, so yeah. I went a bit off topic there. Anyway, he's stepping into his role as like the hero, even though he's like one of the main 3 protagonists, but I think that's the sort of archetype he is, you know. But yeah, he's a good boy. I like the main 3. It's nice that he has potential to become a mage. It's it always interests me when there's like a team or something, and the girl is good at like the physical stuff, and the guy is good at like other stuff, whether it be like, I don't know, like a superpower which isn't coded in the typically masculine, I must be strong, tough, angry at all times sort of thing, and it's just like magic. It suits I just think it's interesting, you know, rather than doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like if it was like he just like if he was struggling at magic and he's like learned that he was good at sword fighting, I'd just be like, what was that? You know? I don't know if I'm making sense, but I like the fact that he's a mage, he's a magic user in the party, she's like the rogue. Wait, she's like the rogue / fighter, he's like the wizard or something. I'm not sure. The other prince, Ezrin? I keep wanting to say Ezra, but that's not his name. Ezrin, I think. He's smart. They've sort of broken up different roles, but yeah, he's smart, which is interesting because the youngest kid is like usually not. It'd generally be the oldest guy, so that's nice. It's I'm looking forward to see his development as well. Even though I know that it's probably going to come from learning that his father died. Poor boy. It's going to be a rough time for them. But it's going to be a fun one for me, watching. Also, side note, I wonder what would happen if you were bound to do something and you didn't do it, or you didn't do it in time. I wonder what would happen. Because the guy said, we're bound, we have to do it. What does that mean? I wonder if we'll be told what that means. Because I'd be very much interested to find out. I'm just interested in how, I want to know how the magic works specifically. Because the whole elemental aspects, or the sources, being different to what we're used to, and some of them having overlap. And the different, like, abilities each one has. Like, dark magic can make shadowy things, but the moon can make you a shadowy being. I'd like to learn, like, how the different subsets of magic interact with each other. What makes them unique? What makes sun different than stars? The sun is a star. What separates those two magics? I can think of the difference between earth and ocean, but like sun, moon, star, sky, like that's a bit more difficult. And dark magic as well, because I thought moon and dark, sun and stars, sky could be wind, but I don't know. I want to find out. I'm curious. I do want to know what happens. It's pretty good. All the episodes seem to go quickly. The show isn't perfect, but I do appreciate the writing. I would binge them all if I had the time. I am very much into this show so far, if you can't tell. But yeah, I'm going to carry on doing videos about it. I don't know what my schedule's going to be like, because Ruby's coming out soon and I'm definitely talking about Ruby. But I am going to do videos on this as well. A third of the way through the series, it's weird to think about. I'm looking forward to finishing it and I want to see the Queen Dragon at some point. I want to see how wonderfully she's designed. Sorry, I'm getting emotional about dragons, but anyway, I'm going to sign off before I go on another tangent and talk for half an hour, which I seem to have a habit of doing. But see you guys later. Did you enjoy the episode? Did you not? Feel free to tell me in the comments. Just don't spoil it for me, because I will read the comment before I see the next episode because of my lack of time. It's quicker to read a comment than it is to watch an entire episode and then film for 20 minutes, half an hour talking about the episode. So yeah, no spoilers, but just tell me what your thoughts are. And I'll see you later.